Hello! I've not filmed the video in ages and now after I have to film this again because it went on for too long. But basically, today we are doing the history of shaving, and basically, I don't know if, I keep saying basically, I don't know if shaving is a taboo subject. It's kind of stupid if it is because it's in loads of ads and everything. But it's coming to the season and the razors go into hibernation, so we might as well take this topic out of hibernation. It thought it'd be interesting to talk about this kind of thing today. I'm not pro or anti-shaving. I don't shave my legs. I don't think that's a weird thing to say. I'm just like, I mean, if it came a day where it's like, oh, I might shave my legs and that'd be grand. Obviously, loads of women feel the need to shave because like they might have darker hair and things, and I don't really have darker hair. I mean, I have light hair, so I'm fine, except it is very much a societal standard now for women as well as men, and it's and that's kind of came with the change as well, that obviously women have more freedom now. They can wear less, they don't have to be wearing like, you know what I mean, they're not covering up the whole time, they're kind of exposed more skin. And I kind of would have a negative opinion on this. Like, again, I'm not pro or anti-shaving, but I do think it is a bit ridiculous that you're expected to be hairless the whole time. Even with men, I think it's a bit ridiculous that men are often expected to be like cleanly shaven the whole time and things around their face and things. It's just a bit like, I just don't get it. It's natural. I mean, what's the big deal with it? But it actually turns out that this goes back a lot further. It's not like that came along one day and they were like, and now I shall shave forever. No, that did not happen. And considering it is such a big industry, it's worth 130 billion, and I thought it would be interesting to go all the way back. I have some notes on my phone, so if I look at that very often, that's why. So basically, it goes all the way back to 3000 BC, and that is when the first shaving creams were made. It got to the Egyptian times, and the Egyptians, it's been said that they took more interest in cleanliness than seemliness. And basically what it means by cleanliness is that everyone went bare-haired, as you might say. They would have no hair, and there are several different reasons for this. Number one, it was a class thing. So it was seen that you were more of an upper class if you had no hair over you. It was seen, like it's untidy and lack of personal like hygiene. Basically, if you had like beards and things, they only in the Egyptian times really wore faux beards in men and women, pharaohs and things, and I think that's how you spell it, you pronounce it. And also, if you were very wealthy, you could afford for someone to come into your house to shave your beard and whatnot and things. And number two, because of the heat. And if you didn't know, and you don't know your geography, Egypt is like it's in North Africa basically, so it would obviously get really hot, and that's not very practical. If you're going to be sweating all day, you'll be sweating a little less. You didn't have your little beard and things, you have less hair and things, it's more practical. It's a bit of a personal hygiene thing as well. And then number three, there was no medicines obviously back then to treat things when you got diseases, and obviously you'd have lice and God knows what insects carrying diseases around. They get into your hair, you're screwed. So that is why, I'm just using my hands, that is why they did that in the Egyptian times. It was very much something that was expected back then. You did not have hair. It would be like, the way I read it on one of the websites was, it would be like turning up to work 3 days in a row in the same outfit or something. So you get what I mean. Then it goes to the Middle Ages, and the Middle Ages there's a lot more focus in historic terms on women, because Queen Elizabeth and the first, it's been said she never shaved anything below. She left all that all natural, but she used to have her eyebrows tweezed and things, and she used to shave, I think it was like she used to shave her forehead and things with, I think it was walnut oil, something else and vinegar. Obviously took after this trend a lot, and then coming up to 18th century, there was no way to be able to shave at home. Shaving was basically the kind of thing would be like if someone came in to change a piping or something, where they were like changing some electrical, they have the tools to do that, you don't. So nobody really had the tools themselves to be able to do that. They're very specific professional tools. So people still went to the barbers the whole time. The Victorian men in the 1800s, again, like the Egyptian times and things, they became very, you know, conscious of their personal appearance, their hair, they liked to shave it and things. In 1895, King Gillette, a salesman, he invented the first disposable razor, which completely changed things for him. Gillette was all of a sudden in bathrooms all over the country, because obviously it was more affordable, more practical to own your own disposable shaver rather than having to go in places and spend loads of money the whole time. And up until now, there's not as much focus on the women's area of it, because women didn't expose a lot of skin and everything back then. But as the 20th century came about, women did a lot more. There's swimsuits coming about when they went, like bathing suits when they're going to the beach and things. These were being featured in magazines. Like I said earlier, it was all kind of shifting. I don't know if I already said this, but it was all shifting from manufacture to consumerism. That's a whole focus on consumerism, which is why I'd always have had a lot of negative thoughts around that kind of thing, because I thought that's when that came back, because a lot of the pressures today came about with the whole shift to consumerism, because you have to put pressure basically on the consumer to buy things, obviously, and that's how you make your money. But basically, 1915, Gillette introduced their first razors specifically for women, called the Milady de Gillette. Following this into 1940s, Remington also went and they released a razor after the success of their men's one. And the whole significance around the 1940s is that women were now taking over the men's jobs, because of it's basically all around World War II. World War II changed things obviously completely, and they were having to wear shorter skirts, you know, like shorter t-shirts. Basically, they couldn't use much material because of rations. So they weren't happy about this, and obviously they weren't going to be happy a bit more if they were conscious of hair and things, and that's why they wanted shave. And wax strips became more available in the 1960s, and they were becoming more popular than the razors, because they obviously, you know, they were quicker, they took things off, they weren't like painful, you weren't bleeding as much. And the first go of laser hair removal thing, I sound like the woman on the ads. The first laser hair removal, that was the first time it came about in the 1960s. But this was quickly axed because it was damaging skin, because they didn't have the right technology to do it. So yes, that is kind of a brief history of shaving. Quite a long video, I know. I need to work on taking down, putting these into point forms and being able to go with them quicker, like a crash course. But still, I just found that very interesting. It changed my outlook on that whole kind of thing, and I hope it might change yours. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.